If you are one of our 5x Fun followers, welcome. This video is in response to some learning I've been doing for a Master of Ministry course that I'm working on. And the question I'm trying to answer is, why should we study the Bible for ourselves? You know that the Bible is readily available. You can get a copy of it anywhere, and most people can read it for themselves. And so we forget that that's actually a privilege, that people have not always had that privilege of being able to study the Bible for themselves. And the irony is that even though most of us can, many of us choose not to study the Bible for ourselves. We would rather leave that to professionals who seem like that's their job to do this, and we can easily access their findings about the Bible by going to YouTube sermons or podcasts or reading books that other people have written on the subject. And it doesn't seem that we need to go through the hard work ourselves of taking the time to read the Bible and dig into it to find out what it really says for us. We can just download that information into our brains, and someone else has done the work for us. That's much more efficient and makes a lot of sense. But I'm trying to say that I have found that studying the Bible for myself is hugely different than just going and finding out what someone else says on the subject. And I'm going to compare it for you to the difference between eating an apple and eating applesauce. When I eat an apple, I have to bite through the skin, and I get this juicy explosion of taste immediately into my mouth. But then I have to continue chewing and chewing and chewing, and it's going to take me several minutes to work my way through this apple down to the core to get all of the goodness out of it. On the other hand, I can very quickly, probably 30 seconds, I can down this applesauce by just scooping it as fast as I can and swallowing, and there is no chewing required. And the work has been done for me. And I like applesauce, and I eat applesauce. But if I had never eaten an apple by itself, I wouldn't know what I was missing. I wouldn't know that this, although it has all the goodness of the apple in it, isn't the same thing as me doing the work of biting into that apple and experiencing all the different tastes and textures that are in there when I eat that apple. So when I study the Bible for myself, I have to go through the work. It's going to take longer because I'm going to read the passage for myself. And then, because I need to know the context of that passage, I'm going to read a whole bunch of other parts of that part of the Bible around it. What comes before it? What comes after it? What's the theme of the book that I'm in? What's the genre of the book that I'm reading in the Bible? So I'm going to have to do some work to understand those things. And then I want to know, what does the Bible say about the subject that I'm studying somewhere else in the Bible? So I'm not just going to be even reading in one place, I'm going to go look other places in the Bible. What else does the Bible say about that subject, so that I understand everything that God has revealed on that topic? And then I might even want to dig deeper and look at what some of the words mean, especially in their original languages. And that's going to take some work of doing a bit of research and finding out what those words meant. And then I want to check what my conclusions are about the meaning of that passage by seeing what other people have interpreted that passage to mean, so that I can make sure that my understanding is in line with what God has shown to other people, that this is what this passage actually means. And that process is exciting to me because it's like tasting a bunch of different textures and experiencing the fullness of it and finding something out for myself and discovering it. It's like eating that apple right down to the core and finding all of the goodness of that apple in it. For me, if I'm only using other people's writings and preaching and learning and using that as my method of studying the Bible, it's like having someone else chew my food for me before I eat it. Like having my applesauce that's only been crushed up and dissolved so that I can swallow it as fast as possible. And I miss the joy of experiencing what it's like to have the whole thing for myself. So I want to encourage you, if you are one of our followers, thank you for listening to this, and take a chance and open your Bible and get into it and find out what it really says.